is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on what we might call a first alert weather night.
Right now, winds are howling, snow is falling in spots, the roads are getting icy and frankly worse by the minute. We had video, it was taken earlier on 32nd Avenue. Must not have it right here. It was slick out there already a couple hours ago.
Head over to the map. I'll see you over there.
Yeah. The snow has been blowing all across the area, and Justin has a number of road closures to tell us about. Justin.
All right, let's take a look at the road map right now. In North Dakota, you see most of the eastern side of the state is a problem right now. I-29 is closed all the way from the South Dakota border up to the Canadian border, with the exception of the few miles in Fargo, in Grand Forks, and around Hillsboro. Meanwhile, I-94 is closed, and we're splitting hairs here, eastbound from Jamestown to Fargo and westbound from Fargo to Valley City. We'll also see other kind of side roads are also closed in parts of the state. And US 2 is closed from Lakota to Leeds up towards Devil's Lake, and there's no travel advised, as I mentioned, on much of the eastern side of the state. Going over to Minnesota, as you get on the eastern side of Minnesota, much better, but here on the western side, again, tricky. I-75 is closed between Purley and Crookston, US 2, between East Grand Forks and Crookston, and 200 is closed between Ada and Halstead. Clay County Sheriff Mark Empting just sent us a message moments ago saying, quote, this is his words, all roads in Clay County should be considered closed at this time. Dangerous whiteout conditions are making travel impossible. Not technically closed, but should be closed. And if you take a look outside, we have some Skycam. You can see why conditions are not great. First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson has the details. Hutch.
Justin, thanks so much. And there is a look at our Storm Team Skycam network. At 4 of those locations, the wind is impacting many of us right now with gusts that are ridiculous out there. First Alert weather days continue into your day tomorrow. Blizzard conditions. You know, we fielded a few calls. Justin, thanks for sharing this and passing it along. And it reminds us of some important details. What do we do if we are stranded with our car? They're asking us. We want to let you know, and you should let your travelers know. Stay with your car in a blizzard, in whiteout conditions. It's easy to get disoriented, lost in the snow. Stay with your car. You can try calling authorities, but just wait this out. Make sure you have that survival kit if you must travel, a full tank of gas and a charged cell phone. Otherwise, please stay in the vehicle. Wait for help to arrive. Stay warm. And your survival kit should have the items here to stay hydrated, some food, snacks, batteries, flashlights, and again, a candle can help keep you warm if the engine is not running. These winds are really gusting. Check out these peak gusts, 66 miles per hour, Grand Forks, 63 miles per hour in Fargo. Some of the strongest winds right here in the Red River Valley. We're not expecting boatloads of snow here. See this batch of snow right now? It's about ready to make its way out of here. And as we go between now and about 3 in the morning, it will be out of here and the new snow will be done. But the wind is going to continue to rip all night long and much of tomorrow as well. Right now, winds are gusting to 60 in Fargo, 62 in the Grand Forks area, 51 miles per hour in Jamestown, and up north we have some ridiculous winds as well for Grafton, over 50 miles per hour. Speaking of which, are those real readings? Well, here's Doppler radar. Doppler radar is a remote instrument. It can measure in between the stations, and this is right into the wind, looking into the teeth of it. We're measuring 59 mile per hour gusts off the ground here, not far from Mayville, a little farther from the radar, a little higher off the ground, over 100 miles per hour. It's about 1,000 feet off the ground. Your hour-by-hour forecast will have details on what you can expect into your First Alert day on Wednesday. But you guys, again, if you're stranded, stay put with your vehicle. If someone calls you, tell them stay put. Help is on the way.
Thanks so much, Hutch.
And with our very quickly changing weather, it's a good idea to keep that VNL weather app handy for forecasts right at your fingertips. Current conditions right at your fingertips. You can download and use that for free. Just search VNL weather in the App Store tonight.
We're learning new details tonight about the 2 men who were arrested in Michigan last week after an attempted armed robbery at Gunderson's Jewelers in Fargo. The 2 men had only recently been let out of prison for their role in smash and grab robbery gang that operated all across the country. They were part of a group of more than a dozen people, authorities say, from the Detroit area, charged in 2014 for about 40 robberies in 9 different states. Last Wednesday, the 2 showed up outside of Gunderson's with a handgun, but the security guard locked the door before they could get inside and the men took off. They were later found and arrested in Michigan in connection to the incident.
Heartbreaking news this week for a Minnesota community. One of their own died unexpectedly after collapsing in an ice house while fishing with his son and friend on Mantrap Lake near Nevis. Friends describe Jim McKeon as a great father, husband, coach, and role model, saying his positive impact stretched beyond the football field at the high school.
What he gave to the community, hopefully it's a small percentage of us giving back to him. And I know that can't bring him back, but it does signify that while he was with us, he had a significant impact on all of us.
Said their last goodbyes to Jim today. Jim leaves behind a wife and 2 kids.
A family is back in Fargo tonight after driving more than 10 hours to rescue a group of wild horses from a kill pen.
Wouldn't have happened without the help of the community. Courtney Lockie stopped by more to learn more about their mission and what comes next.
Can I get a kiss?
A job well done, but one that's never finished.
If we can rescue these babies and rescue any horse and give them the opportunity to have what I have, that's just amazing.
Ashley Faulkner has been rescuing horses for Pride and Joy Rescue for 3 years, but her recent trip to Kansas was the furthest she's gone to do so. She and her mom went to save 8 wild horses from the kill pen.
A kill pen is essentially the equivalent to the pound for a dog or a cat. It's their last stop.
Horses end up in these pens for all kinds of reasons, but Connie says it's becoming more common. Prices keep rising, and many can't afford to take care of their animals.
Hi, baby. Yeah.
The Faulkners have spent at least $60,000 on their rescues.
For me, it was paying horses back from my childhood. For our daughter, it was teaching her that adults can do the right thing. Teaching them to have a bigger heart than what they see in their everyday world.
Connie says donations and support from the community were the only reasons they could get to Kansas.
Most of them were starved. You can feel their ribs. What happens is when they go on the kill trucks, they don't get hay, they don't get water.
The horses have a long road to recovery, and they still need to get used to their new environment, which will take a few months.
I feel like everyone deserves to have what I have with Lady because it's really special.
Something the Faulkners say will always be well worth it. In Fargo, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
If you'd like to help Pride and Joy Rescue, we have a link to do so on our website, valleynewslive.com. Meanwhile, in other news, Grand Forks police need your help finding this 54-year-old man. They say Steve Crary was last seen in Grand Forks about a week ago, and his debit card was last used in Halstead on February 10th. Steve's family is concerned for his well-being. He was last seen driving a silver 2013 GMC Sierra pickup, Minnesota license plate XK617. Call police if you have any information.
Veterans and community members joined together today to honor a Marine being laid to rest. The graveside service with military honors happened at the Fargo National Cemetery for Pedro Pete Hernandez. The 72-year-old died on Saturday at Eventide in Moorhead.
An attack on a member of Congress raising questions about the treatment of repeat offenders who may be mentally ill. Minnesota Congresswoman Angie Craig says she fought off a convicted criminal who punched her in the face and wanted to get into her apartment in Washington. Craig is calling for changes to prevent known criminals from targeting new victims.
I got attacked by someone who the District of Columbia has not prosecuted fully. Over the course of almost a decade, over the course of 12 assaults before mine.
This attack comes as Craig begins her 5th year in Congress, which has led her grappling over several years with criminal justice reform.
New at 10, the State House passed 3 vaccine-related bills today and rejected 2 more. They voted down one that would have held the Department of Health and Human Services liable for adverse vaccine events. The other would have banned vaccine mandates. House members passed bills requiring the Department of Health and Human Services to publish adverse vaccine events, another which prohibits higher ed institutions from mandating the COVID vaccine, and one that prohibits hospitals from refusing care to unvaccinated people. The state Senate passed a bill aimed at lowering insulin cost. It's designed to cap insulin cost at $25 per month. State law says the legislation would only apply to people covered by the North Dakota Public Employees Retirement System. That bill now goes to the House.
New developments out of Crookston. Voting has now finished up for the proposed athletic complex project. It failed narrowly back in the fall. This time it passed. The proposal includes a turf field, an 8-lane track, press box seating for up to 750 people, includes concessions, bathrooms. That complex would be located on the property northeast of the high school. Again, the August 9th primary, the nearly $4 million referendum failed by just 9 votes. Tonight's vote was 1,010 votes yes and 706 votes no, so it passes.
Farmers are a big part of life in the Valley, and tonight we begin a series to honor those in the ag industry.
Our first stop is Great Bend, North Dakota. Jillian Trudeau has this week's Cream of the Crop.
Today we're here with Chris Johnson of C&S Farms from Great Bend, North Dakota. And Chris, I just wanted to thank you for everything that you do for the farming industry and everything you do around the community. So on behalf of Northwestern Mutual and Valley News Live, we wanted to present the first Cream of the Crop Award.
Thank you very much, James. We all appreciate it. My name is Chris Johnson. I farm 2.5 miles east of Great Bend, North Dakota. We operate under the farm name is C&S Farms. C stands for Chris. My wife's S stands for Suzanne. We've been in business since 1974. And the farm has grown from 700 acres and now it's probably 3,500, consisting of corn, soybeans, wheat, sunflowers, and sugar beets. This farmstead here is where my mother's parents grew up, and then they had this while they owned the locker plant in Great Bend, by the way, which is still operating. So stop on the way back and get some really good beef sticks there. And my parents were here, and my dad farmed in a partnership with his brother. I'm the 4th owner of it. My kids will be the 5th generation that will own the farmstead. It leaves a legacy. In fact, when my dad passed away, his ashes are scattered out there in that field, and it's where first time I drove a tractor by myself. And my mother's ashes are scattered over a couple miles in a field that her parents had. I can take you to the exact spot in the road north of Great Bend where I told my dad, I think I want to farm. So ever since then, you know, throughout high school with FFA and then through college, it's kind of in your blood, I guess. I went to NDSCS in high school, actually. Was one of the first ag business programs there. And so my wife and I started a scholarship fund. Oh gosh, been 5-6 years now already. And so last year we gave out 3 scholarships to kids that are going to ag business, and actually was instrumental in starting the Kozo Land Lab. The kids there can actually be out in the field, dig holes in the ground and smell and do weeds and count corn and that kind of stuff. We're growing, we're feeding the world. We're providing a basic need for people around the world. Pretty cool when you can take something very small like a wheat seed or a sugar beet seed and make it, you know, produce into something great, abundant.
If you know a farmer you'd like to submit, you can submit a nomination right on our website, valleynewslive.com. Just click on Cream of the Crop.
Stick around on Valley News Live. I had a nice surprise for many living in area care centers to show you the reaction and who's behind the project.
Our first alert weather day continues into tomorrow. Very gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Combine that with this snow that's falling through the region, and we have some of the nastiest conditions that we've had for travelers yet this winter season. Even though we're not expecting boatloads of snow, it's going to impact travel. Details in your forecast are straight ahead.